On this segment of One-on-One, we're going to go back in the past, not only in politics, but business, different aspects here in Terrebonne Parish. We're going to talk with Mr. Harold Lapeyre. You've been so instrumental in the development of this parish, and I'm sure we have a lot to talk about. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Mr. Harold will be my guest on One-on-One. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer. The Lapeyre family, for those watching it may not know, a lot of brilliant minds who invented.
Except myself.
Come on, you got to give yourself a little credit. But you served some good time too.
I did
But
too.
where did all this innovative, technological mindset come from?
Basically, I'd have to give it to my oldest brother, J.M. Lapeyre.
Okay.
When he died with 140 different patents. And of course, the major, he got a patent on the shrimp peeling machine,
Right.
which worked in conjunction with my father and my uncle Fanon in New Orleans. And Jam was very, very, very inquisitive, and his mind was always working on how he could make things better. My father had a shrimp plant in Grand Kaya, and he was working as a high school guy at the plant. And one day he talked to my father and he says, well, what can we do to improve how we peel shrimp? And my father said, invent a shrimp peeler. He was 18 years old at the time. Jim took home a bucket of shrimp, unpeeled shrimp, and went to my mother's washing machine, which was an old wringer type washer where you'd put the clothes into the washing machine. And he stood there half the night pressing shrimp against Mama's washing machine. Would upset her a lot because he would press the shrimp individually against the rubber rollers, and he discovered the meat would drop back to him and the hull would go through. The principle of the machine is that the rubber roller would not grab the sliminess of the shrimp. He immediately related this to my father and says, hey, I think I got something. And he went back the next day and got another bucket of shrimp. He peeled several buckets of shrimp at home, showing my father how it worked. From that point, it took him 7 years to develop a commercial machine that would actually peel shrimp.
You brought me through there one time.
Yeah, and it's on an inclined plane, and the shrimp are fed up at the top, and the whole thing is water lubricated. So the shrimp just gradually work their way down this machine, and the meat falls into a trough, and of course the hulls go below the machine. He got a pioneer patent. Henry Ford got a pioneer patent on the Model T, I think it was.
Right.
You don't get pioneer patents
because
every
normally
day.
the patent is based on something else.
It revolutionized the shrimp canning industry, because at that time we had like 200 people peeling shrimp on Grand Kaya, and we reduced that amount dramatically with the machine. But the people still had jobs because there was all kind of other related jobs to the operation of the plant. It was instrumental in bringing a whole new industry into effect. And then he leased the machines. It was called the Peelers Corporation. It was a partnership, actually, by my father, my uncle, and J.M. They started the Peelers Company. They actually manufactured the machine in New Orleans on St. Peter's Street. So at that point, everybody who was canning shrimp, everybody who was processing shrimp, they immediately wanted a shrimp peeler. Well, they made a lot of money with those peeling machines.
I just have one
processing.
question off of that. Did he buy your mom a new washing machine?
I don't think he did. He says, all you got to do is wash the rollers.
Yeah, but whoever wore the clothes out to smell like shrimp. For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. Was anybody in the family involved in politics?
I think there was some DuPonts involved in politics,
Okay.
yeah. My brother, Louis Lapeyre, who passed early, became actually the mayor of Brownsville, Texas, because he started a shrimp plant down there in Brownsville. And he ran for office and won and served as the mayor of Brownsville, Texas. He passed when he was 55 years old. He was one of my favorite brothers. He loved life and he had 11 children. It's hard for me to think about Louis because he left us so early, you know. Mm-hmm. He was one of my first brother to pass away. When I got back to Houma, I became president of the JCs. I was right behind Stanwood Duval. Yeah. And my involvement and interest in my community, originally my thirst for, I guess, the community was generated by the JCs. Mm-hmm. And all of my friends were JCs, and we actually got the Blue Angels to perform in Houma.
I remember that clearly.
That was a major,
beautiful,
major thing we brought to the community. And over time, I gradually got more involved in it. So did Stan was involved and a bunch of other guys, Al Batto and so forth. And
but you said you came back to Houma. Where were you?
I was at St. Thomas University in Houston. April the 10th, 1965, my wife Marie and I got married.
How'd you meet her?
And I just, we met when I'd go to Mass here on at St. Francis Cathedral. She was at the girls' school and I was at the boys' school, where we'd walk from the boys' school, which was right there where Dr. Hedel lived on the corner.
Right.
And we'd walk and go to church, and she was always at church. So we met when she was, my God, she was in the, just starting at school. I met her when she was 12 years old.
Did you know right away that you liked her?
Yeah, I had a natural attraction to her. Yeah. And I met her at a birthday party on High Street with Mina Chauvin, and she had a party. And I drove up in a pickup truck, and she wanted to know who that guy was, and Marie and I got to know each other. Yeah. And we constantly were talking to each other as we went through high school. Right. So, we were very much attracted to each other. Yeah. But
wasn't that the good old days?
Oh man, it was beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. It's an entirely different world now, you know. We didn't have a care in the world. I mean, Peter Broussard and myself and Jamie Tabor and Don Chauvin and all those guys on High Street. Peter had the old DeSoto car and I had the boat, and we'd hook it up and go to Dulac and go water skiing.
No cell phones back then.
No cell phones. But anyway, all of the intricacies of Houma was so much different now. It's a sad moment for me because we had just a wonderful time as high schoolers, and just didn't have to be constantly bombarded by all these other things now.
You said you went to the boys' school.
Yeah.
How tough was it?
Brother Alfred was my
He was there too?
Brother Alfred
Wow.
was there, and he taught mathematics and English, and he was tough.
He was tough at Vanderbilt.
He was tough at Vanderbilt. He taught my four boys.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he did. I taught them somewhere along the line.
They kept y'all
He
straight
was
and narrow.
tight. He was. I memorized many poems for Brother Alfred
Yeah.
for talking in his class, doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Were you mischievous?
I guess so. I hung my classmate. One of them was S.P. LaRusso.
Oh my! Well, okay, there we go. So y'all got in trouble
So
together.
we were constantly, always, and Brother Alfred was always trying to rein us in, and we would always giving him. But he had a way of punishing, making us stay after school, and memorize poems. And boy, we hated that.
But he was such a good teacher.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And he loved his students. He was truly loving and giving. And he had a way about him that he was very stern, but yet still saw the value of the young man trying to grow up, and seeing those people and his students, and seeing some of the attributes that they had were absolutely different. As they grew up and graduated from high school. I respected him till the day he died.
What about sports? You play sports?
I didn't play that much sports. I ran a little track. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my friends played. We won in Tallulah, Louisiana. At that time, Herman Pellegrin and Dr.
Was that 59?
59.
59, yeah.
Yeah, 59. I graduated in 1960. And I thought we'd never get up to Tallulah, to play that game. And it was raining. And I mean, they would tackle each other, and they didn't want to drown. If you were at the bottom of the pile, Herman Pellegrin would say Herman was a quarterback. And I couldn't believe.
You almost need a snorkel,
And
huh?
they need a snorkel when they
Wow.
attack. But it was a very close game.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
What made you want to get into politics?
Just as I told you from the JCs, the politics of it was intriguing to me, to the point that I could have some small effect on what the direction of the parish was going in, and how we could make those things more efficient and more attainable. The more efficient use of our monies, which was very, very limited, and we could seem to direct the important things that we needed to get done. And
So the JCs sort of launched you into feeling confident enough to get things done.
Absolutely. The best work of life is a contribution to your community. And I think that's true today. That young people today should value their abilities, if they so incline, to try to contribute back to your community and bring it to a higher place and a more usable place for people to raise a family and have the proper things in the town to make it a wonderful town to live in. And Houma still is that. And I saw the value of that in raising my children, and they also see the value of it. So It was a community-minded spirit that I had, that I developed early on with the JCs, and then just carried it forward. It was a natural flow of me wanting to run for office, and I lost the first thing. I lost one election. I don't know what it was. Can't even remember.
Well, I don't remember the loss. I just remember you serving and doing a great job
Yeah.
as a council person. And I told you the time with Fly, so let me ask you this. If I were able to get Bubby Lyons back, and,
Oh, God.
and I would get some of those Donald Landry and
Oh,
all those
man.
people back, but I was able to get Chris and some of
Yeah,
your family and
yeah.
Marie and all
Yeah.
them. And I said, y'all give me one word that describes Harold or your husband or your dad, or even if I got some of the grandchildren. What would you hope the one word would be?
Aggressiveness, just a true aggression about whatever they were doing, whether it's Chris in the insurance business or Jacques he graduated in chemistry originally. Yeah, I think chemistry and biology, and he was going to try to get into medical school, but he never did. He wasn't a Haydell. And Edward, of course, graduated. He was always interested in politics, and in fact, he's an alderman in Webster, Texas, right now. He's an elected official in Webster, Texas. And then Andre, my son Andre, is a nurse anesthetist at Terrebonne General. Yeah. But Edward, I guess, would be the one that was kind of carried on in my family, being interested to this day. He's in his third term as a council member of Webster, Texas. And he's done a damn good job as far as I'm concerned, or they wouldn't have reelected him.
Wow.
So, and Edward was always interested to some degree in what I was doing here in Houma. Yeah. And he'd write about it. He was good, Edward was good in the English language. Yeah. He could write a real good letter to whatever he wanted to write about. Yeah. So, all of my children I'm very proud of, and they're very, very close, and I'm always thankful to the Lord Almighty. I have a saying that I use each day when I wake up: too blessed to be stressed. And I believe that Lord Almighty and God has given our family direction and throughout our time here on this earth. And the older I get, the shorter it becomes. So
let me just say this: we were blessed to have had you to come through, and you were very inspirational to this community, and you put in your time.
I thank you for that.
Now your kids are putting in their time.
Right.
Thank you so much for what you've done for the parish.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you joining us.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.